Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video, and welcome to a Friday Drivey, which I haven't done in quite a long time. I had originally started doing these because Alan Stewart, Meister, had a little bit of things going on in his life where he decided he wasn't going to do his traditional Friday waffle for the longest time. And a few of us sort of stepped up to the plate and said, well, hey, we'll help out. We'll do the Friday various fillers until Alan is back. Alan has been back for a while, but he's actually recently been saying that due to various things going on, he just either hasn't had the time lately or things have come up and he's decided he's not really going to be doing the Friday waffle. He's going to try and get them in still, but I have a sneaky suspicion we will not be seeing the waffles as consistently as has been tradition. So I just thought, well, maybe I'll do another one of these. Also, I want to get that little flashing screen there because the main reason I'm doing this, oh darn it, is I'm trying to get those Paradise City billboards. If you've seen these before, this is Burnout Paradise, and this is one of those games you can kind of just drive around, fiddle fart around, and just have fun and collect billboards and stuff. Ooh, ouch, I didn't get hit like that. Am I still drivable? I'm still drivable. And I just thought, I kind of got inspired by calling mine the Friday Drivey by other great YouTuber, Steve Benway, who has done the Friday Talkie for a long time. Stopped doing his, but one of the ones he did was the Friday Drivey, where he was in Grand Theft Auto 5 and just decided to drive his car around. And I just thought, well, I kind of want to get these billboards from Burnout Paradise. Let's see if I can get this right, time it properly, and that is definitely not how you do that. Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, can I do it? Hang on, and turbo me! No. Alright. Oh, yeah, now I get the big jump. You'll notice I'm driving a car that looks a heck of a lot like a car from a famous 80s time travel show. I am. And the reason I'm doing that is I had decided I was going to sort of not do as many Friday Driveys because A, I wasn't getting the views, and B, Alan has stepped back up to the plate. But I did say in the last one, if anything ever kind of noteworthy comes up, something I want to talk about, then I will still do a Friday Drivey. And something just recently has, and it kind of has to do with time travel and the 1980s. So of course I'm going to be driving this car. In fact, let's put it into the proper mode that is appropriate for the situation. There we go, that's better. So, what is the big thing that recently happened for me? Well, to cut a very long story short, I actually... Ooh, that is cool, that flight mode. To cut a long and convoluted story short, I, through a weird combination of events, ran into, or recently met up with again, somebody that I went to high school with back in the 80s, around the time that Back to the Future came out. And she actually recently invited me, oh, I've never been up here before. She recently invited me to this kind of, not exactly a high school reunion. I mean, it was, but it was for not just our year. It was kind of like everybody who had been to the schools that we live in our town for a certain period. Like, I think it was everybody who's graduated from the 70s to the 80s of a certain age bracket, of which I fell into. And she was going to be there, and I thought, well, absolutely, I will graciously accept that invitation, and thank you very much to her. And that was a weird experience. Now, not too many people from my particular year showed up, but the people who did, it was kind of a significant moment for me, and I wanted to kind of talk about it. My experience, as I'm sure any gamer, our experience in high school was perhaps not the greatest. Here, let's go back to drive mode. Perhaps not the greatest experience. You know, I'm sure a lot of us turned to games and escapism because maybe we weren't the quarterback successful jock dude of high school with all the girls throwing themselves at him. No, a lot of us were perhaps a little bit of social outcast. I was definitely one of those folks. And The girl who, I keep calling her girl, she's my age. She's not a girl. She has children and has a long career, like, whatever. The girl that invited me to this thing, she was one of the popular kids in class, and so, yeah, of course, she's going to extend an invitation to anybody. And I thought, well, it's been decades since I've seen any of these folks. Why don't I attend and at least see how have things changed for people? She has actually not changed much at all. She is still very much the same. She was one of the few popular girls that actually talked to nerdy guys like me in my crowd. So hats off to her for that. She didn't actually show up till later though, and I want to just paint a picture here. I was going to this event on my own. I did invite my wife because she also is from the same town and she qualifies as having graduated in that same decade. But she just took one look at this and she was like, you know what? Being surrounded by a bunch of drunken strangers in a loud banquet hall, you knock yourself out, man. You go relive the 80s. I'm staying home and I'm playing some video games. So, all right, I went on my own. And I kind of was a little worried about going at first. I just thought, well, why am I doing this? I didn't really like those people when I was in school. So why the heck do I want to go and see them now? But I don't know. I think it's like a getting older thing. You start to establish more appreciation for older things, more history, personal history, or like actual big world-class history. You just start to become more aware of things that have happened in people's lives and the awareness of the passage of time. I guess that's really what it all boils down to. Yes, I see another billboard, but I'm going to talk about this reunion thing because it's the big event I wanted to discuss. And I went there, and before I showed up, I was kind of like, why am I doing this? Why do I want to go and see these people? And there is the sort of grown-up, mature part of me that feels like, no, do it. You want to see these people. You want to at least, find out how have they changed, what has gone on in their lives. Do it. But right up to, oh man, I need to get repaired. Right up to walking in the front door, I was nervous. I just thought to myself, what if it's not a pleasant experience? What if, for whatever reason, these people bring back old memories, or I'm kind of brought back to the shy, nervous, nerdy kind of guy I was in high school, which actually did happen, I will say. I'll get to that. But there's that old adage of, what is it? Every day do something that scares you. And I just thought, well, this is scary. I mean, it's not like life-threateningly scary, but this is, from a personal point of view, this is something that's got me nervous. So, all right, let's embrace that mantra and get out there and just see what happens. Whee! Okay, I got to get repaired. Where's the repair shop? I'm yakking too much. Anyway, so I show up. I get there. And it's perhaps not the best organized event. There's like one bartender lady, and so everybody's all lined up to get drinks, and I can tell this is going to take a long time before I get mine, so I'm going to get 2 drinks and just sort of nurse them for a while. And as I was standing in the lineup ready, I was maybe 5th or 6th person down to be about to be served. It happened. The people, not the woman standing directly in front of me, but the crowd right in front of her, they were kids from my high school. In fact, one of them was one of the popular girls, not the one who invited me, she showed up later, but one of the popular girls in class. And I was just like, that's her. That's somebody from my high school days. I recognize her. I mean, there's certain people who, yeah, you can tell the years have passed, but you kind of still recognize the kid you knew, sort of thing. That was her. And then I was like, okay, but I don't recognize the other lady she's standing there with. So I thought, I should probably, because that's going to look rude if I know one of them but not the other, maybe I'll just carefully, take my time here. I still have to get my drink, and maybe with a bit of liquid courage down my throat, I can more correctly approach these people. And then, lo and behold, a guy I definitely went to high school with walked up to her, and not the one I didn't recognize. I guess I might as well use names. Paul, went up and talked to Debbie. Debbie was the girl I went to high school with. Her friend Maria didn't recognize her. And I'll regale what happened there. But I did. I just sat there and I thought, oh my God, that's definitely Debbie. Now that I know Paul is talking to her, yeah, that is Debbie. Oh, wow. What a weird sensation. 30 years later, plus, that's Debbie from high school. One of the popular girls. Jeez. Strange event. And this is when kind of my teenage self suddenly came rushing to the fore. And I got my drinks, both of them. Needed my liquid courage, and, got out of the way. And they had moved on into the crowd of other people from all these other graduation years that I didn't recognize. So I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to take a moment and think about this. Actually, let's go down this way. Still got to look for a repair shop. And hit other people so they go to repair shops. I just thought, okay, so what do you do now? How do you approach somebody you haven't talked to in decades who was... She wasn't unkind or anything like that, but she was one of the popular girls, so never talked to me. How do I go up and say, hi, you won't remember me, but we were in school together? Like, do I do that? Oh, well, don't have to get repaired now. Woo, spectacular. That's a good one. So I gave it a long thought. In fact, let's get into the bright area. I think the light is streaming in from the windows there. Apologies for that. So, by luck, here was me finding myself kind of wandering around the, being a wallflower, nursing my drink and looking at the crowd of cooler people all doing cooler things than me. Oh gosh, I was totally my high school self there. But I thought, okay, so what am I going to do? And by total fluke, her friend Maria, the one I didn't recognize, happened to be walking past, I guess, looking for somebody or something like that. And I thought, okay, here's an opportunity. And I sort of flagged her down and said, hey, I don't seem to remember you, but is that Debbie? Because I think I went to high school with her. And she said, yep, that is definitely Debbie. You're from the year? Yeah, you're from that school? Yeah, wow, oh my God, type of thing. And I said, I feel really bad. I don't recognize you. Is that, I mean, I didn't really hang out in Debbie's crowd. And she held up a hand. She said, don't feel bad about it. I actually knew Debbie when we were younger. And during her high school years, when you knew her, I was actually living in another part of the city, another part of Vancouver. Oh, okay. So, yeah, we didn't ever see each other. And then I met up with Debbie years later. Oh, okay. So now I don't feel so bad. Great. Well, that's cool. And I'm glad to see that Paul is here too, etc., etc. Lo and behold, like 10 minutes later, Maria brings Debbie by and we talk. That was a nicer introduction to say hello again. And the really cool thing, the experience that struck me, was Debbie was very different. Or was she? Maybe it was my memory of her and the popular kids in school. Let's get back to flight mode, since we're talking about time travel now. Yeah, Debbie was... super. She claimed she remembered me, which I think is just, being polite. Because I didn't see her since we were 13, 14. But, whatever. Yeah, she's telling me that what she's been up to all these years. She's now a grandmother, which was shocking, and it made me realize, oh yeah, hey Kev, you're not 20 anymore. The people you went to high school with are actually grandfathers and grandmothers now, so there's a bit of an eye-opener. Woo! But, she's been through some rocky stuff. And ironically, she also told me when she was in high school, she was one of the kids who got bullied, which I found shocking. I was like, no, you were the popular girl. I was with the sort of losers in the computer class, talking about Dungeons and Dragons and all that kind of stuff. We had a good laugh over it. But she said, no, I went through some stuff. And I was like, wow. It really makes you think, like, here you are, assuming that everybody has a better experience than yourself if yours is not great. And lo and behold, nope, some people have had it pretty rough. So that really came as an eye-opener to me. And I'm glad I went. I'm going to maybe sort of finish off this, because that's sort of my main point of this show, is that, you know, you don't really know what people have been through in their lives. You go through, especially when you're in your teenage years and you're in high school, you paint everybody with broad brushstrokes, and you assume they're all having a much better time than yourself. They're not getting picked on. They're not suffering in any way. It's all on you. Ouch! Well, I'm definitely suffering now. Can I keep driving? Oh, I can keep driving. Boy, they really make these time-traveling cars tough, don't they? And I definitely had a time-traveling car last night. But yeah, I think the takeaway for me is definitely do something every day that scares you. You might actually end up having an eye-opening experience. And don't prejudge folks, because a lot of them that you might think have it all going together, they've had it pretty rough themselves. So I guess I should just follow up with the girl who did invite me to the event. She did show up later. We did have a nice brief time chatting and that, but it was kind of getting on, and I had other things I had to do, but it was great to see that crowd. And yeah, I will definitely, assuming I get invited to this sort of thing again, I had to leave a little bit early, but assuming I get invited to these things again, I'll definitely go, and I won't go with quite so many fears or predisposed opinions of how much more successful everybody else was in my high school year compared to myself. And maybe that's something we can all take away from this. And with luck, there will be more of the Friday Waffle from Alan Stewart, but if not, I'm thinking I might, take the old Friday Drivey out for a spin every once in a while again, because this has been kind of fun. Although a little bit dark due to the nighttime cycle of Burnout Paradise. Alright, well, until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.